We are back with you once again on another Johnny Torch Classic Comics Corner. And today we're going to take a look at the Silver Age World's Finest Volume 1. I've been reading this one for quite a while, actually. That's been out for a while, of course, but I always have a hankering for some Silver Age classic tales. Back when comics were fun and imaginative. It's, I guess, an acquired taste to some. But I like the sense of, just it's more of a whimsy. They became more soap opera-ish, which is probably for the best in the 60s, probably after the Marvel era started, ushering in that type of storytelling. In this case, Batman and Superman had similar storylines for many of the Silver Age years. Lois trying to find out Superman's secret identity, and so on and so forth. Of course, some of the more campier and fantastical storylines from Batman before he started becoming the brooding and Dark Knight Crusader he would become. The stories here were written by, let's read the credits here as I want to do when we start doing a comic review. Edmund Hamilton, Bill Finger, and Alvin Schwartz wrote these stories. Kurt Swan and Dick Sprang, legendary artists, penciled. And for inkers, we have Stan Kay, John Fischetti, Charles Paris, and Ray Burnley. Those are the inkers. So we start off here with the World's Finest. And I believe the first issue was actually in the pages of Superman. This is when Batman first met Superman, and it's a very interesting story. I really like the way they brought this story together, where Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent are both sharing the same cabin on a ship, and they accidentally change into their secret identities in the same room, unbeknownst to each other. And the pair, unlike the modern incarnation where they're always at each other's throats, become fast friends, as you kind of would expect. And they both pledge not to let Lois, who is also on the boat, find out the identity of the other. And it's pretty cool. It's funny, at the end of the issue, as both of them kind of wonder who Lois is going to be interested in, she goes out to dinner with Robin. Something that probably wouldn't happen nowadays. Then they got their own title, World's Finest, because, of course, why not? You have the two most popular Golden Age heroes in the Silver Age, put them together and give them adventures. Now, I was a fan of World's Finest a lot as a kid. I collected World's Finest for a long time when it was collecting in the 80s. And they were still great stories then, too. I'd like to go back and revisit some of them. But let's just thumb through some of the stories here. We have Batman and Superman trading identities, but because, of course, Lois is on the trail, and she mistakenly thinks Bruce Wayne is Superman and Clark Kent is Batman, and they have to set her straight on that. Let's see. Other interesting tales here. We have Batman, Superman, and Robin go to the past to meet with Aladdin, and Superman plays the genie to Aladdin in the past. Superman takes over for Batman in one of the tales after Batman gets a broken leg. This was an interesting one. I like this one a lot. Metropolis and Gotham have a challenge going on. It's called When Gotham City Challenged Metropolis, to find out what hero would have the most heroic saves between the two of them. And Superman would have to do something heroic in Metropolis, and Batman would have to in Gotham for charity, of course. These are the interesting tales. So you had to be a little bit more clever than just, the villain is going to blow up the world and so on and so forth. Batman gains the powers of Superman in one. A lot of, like I said, a lot of stories where Superman is covering for Batman, almost having his identity exposed, or vice versa. Let's see. This is an interesting one, too, this story. The True History of Superman and Batman, where there is a librarian of sorts who is upset that the history that he wrote isn't actual. So he goes back in time and creates difficulties for Batman and Superman to overcome in order to make sure that history came out the way he said. So it's, of course, and they have to stop Lois from finding out, their identities because the guy from the future knows them. Another interesting tale about them going back in the past, and we see that theme come up again plenty of times. Batman, Robin, and Superman become the Three Musketeers, along with D'Artagnan, I believe, as they try to save the Man in the Iron Mask. So that's also quite a clever one for someone like myself who's a fan of the Three Musketeers and that type of literature. We have a story here about the case of the Mother Goose mystery. Another interesting sort of a detective tale, more in line with Batman, and Superman is along for the ride. You see the oversized props that Bill Finger always put in, which of course I love. That's a lot of fun. There is a couple of interesting tales. They kind of backtrack on Superman and Batman meeting by doing a story where in the past, apparently Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne met as children. And that was pretty interesting. It kind of plays havoc with the established continuity at that point. But I think Bruce Wayne was trying to find out Clark Kent's secret identity because, of course, Bruce was a aspiring detective even then as a 14-year-old or whatever. Another interesting story, the super rivals. Batman and Superman are romantic rivals for a princess from a European country. And this one guest stars Vicky Vale, who was sort of Batman's Lois to an extent. And of course, they're both pretty upset that Superman and Batman are vying for the affections of this beautiful princess. But of course, Superman and Batman, being manly men who cannot be taken in by a pretty face, have their own reasons for this sudden interest in the fairer gender. A lot of alien skullduggery going on. A couple of guest starring villains. There is, of course, a classic team up between Lex Luthor and the Joker, which is probably the first time that ever happened. You'll find that in the pages here, where they team up in the story Superman and Batman's Greatest Foes. Of course, they did a great job with that on the Batman-Superman Adventures animated series. Lightning Man makes his appearance. That's another interesting character that shows up for the first time and probably last time here. We also have, let's see, Power Man. This is long before Luke Cage became Power Man. A guest starring appearance also by Batwoman, who gains Superman's powers. This is, of course, the original Batwoman, Kate Kane, but she's not the lesbian cousin of Bruce Wayne. So that's very interesting to see the original Batwoman here before they completely retooled her. Batman, Robin, and Superman also going to the future, the far future, where Superman is involved in a sort of touching love story with a girl from the future who must give him up to return him to his proper time in the past. Batman sort of uncovers this secret affair that she is trying to intend upon the Man of Steel. Superman gets a sidekick in Skyboy. That's another interesting tale. So again, if this whetted your appetite at all for some classic stories, and there's plenty more here. I think I've only given you probably about 60% of the stories in there. But you'll want to check that one out. That's a lot of fun if you like that early age of comics. It says Silver Age. It does have sort of a golden age feel at the very beginning, but it is, Silver Age comics at their finest. You get the crazy aliens and the time travel adventures, future and past. So I would give this one a solid 4.5 stars out of 5. Like I said, I think this depends upon your interest in that period of comics. For me, as someone who really enjoys that, this was a good sampling. This was a good selection of different comics from the Batman Superman era, where they were always all smiles, always on call to the public, not brooding in the shadows. In Batman's case, not moody and doubtful, self-doubt with Superman. This was an era where it was fun and it was interesting. It was entertaining. The writers had to be a little bit more clever. You don't see a lot of supervillains here. I probably would prefer maybe more supervillains, but again, they had to be clever in this Wortham era where they couldn't really get too suggestive either with violence or romance or anything else. It was basically, all ages appeal, which is something that appeals to me. So be sure and check that out. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to have me review anything else, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you're interested in any more of these Comic Corner reviews. I've got a few more that I would like to have coming up. I got some Marvel books here in front of me that I haven't finished reading yet that I am going to attempt a review at. These are Marvel Masterworks. Always love those. They're a lot of fun. So until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.